Hi, everybody. John Townsend here, and welcome to the Dr. Townsend live program. And sorry we're late. Sometimes tech things happen, and appreciate you being patient. And I was going to say, but if you're not watching because you're not patient, but I can't say that because if you're not watching, you can't hear this. So anyway, but thanks for being here. And we're if it's your first time, what we are is we're question, answer, problem solving. Basically, people have lots of things they have questions about and problems to solve. Problems in marriage and in dating and in raising kids and in our own parents and raising adult kids and little kids, family things, also relationship things and issues at work, where there's cultural problems or strategic problems, leadership problems. We deal with those kind of human problems, and we try to give you an answer that makes sense and that kind of goes to the why underneath all this. Because if you don't go to why, you're just kind of stuck if you don't understand why something's happening. Because probably the reason that you might be calling us or wanting to talk to us is because you've tried a bunch of things and nothing works. So if we can get to it's like when you have I had a problem recently, a medical problem, no big deal. But I went to a not well-trained or not a specialist in the area, and they have great ideas, but it still wasn't better. So he sent me to a specialist. Specialist, it's this, because he got to the why. He knew the deeper reason, and everything's fine. Same thing is true in human problems. So we try to make it practical, but also gets to the root issue. And we're here for an hour every Wednesday from 2 to 3 Pacific time. And we hope that you'll call in, talk in, and we'll get things started. And our awesome producer, Stacy, who makes all this happen, is here. And hi, Stacy.
Hey there, John. Thanks, everybody, for being with us today on the Dr. Townsend Live Show. If you are joining us from one of his media platforms, then you probably already have the number to be able to call in. But if not, grab a piece of paper and a pen, and I'll give you the number. It is 1-877-853-5257, 1-877-853-5257, and you'll need a meeting ID code to enter the waiting room, and that's going to be 876-5437-2012. Again, 876-5437-2012. We're so glad that you're here today, and for privacy purposes, if you're calling into the show, since it is a call-in show only, please go ahead and disable the camera on your device. You'll be able to talk with John.
It's call in, not see in, right?
Right. I mean, that's correct.
Your nice face is not on the camera for privacy reasons.
Yes, that's right. So you've got the number, and let's go ahead and get started with the show. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Thank you, Stacy. And while she's talking to whoever's going to be next, we had our kind of introductory promo email message with a little video that always comes out before the program. And this one was on gaslighting in the church, which is a significant issue. I work with a lot of churches, and it comes out when gaslighting basically means you have a hurt from someone or a problem with someone, and they make you the problem. And they say, you're the crazy one. That never happened. You're overreacting. Why are you so sensitive? No, I didn't do that. Gaslighting means when the person that did something that wronged us is trying to make us feel insane, so we question our reality, and then they can control us. It happens in relationships, it happens in marriages, it happens in business, happens in churches too. And kind of what to do about that, because you're just not good for anybody. But I was reading what I wrote, and I didn't like the way it came out. I wanted to make that really clear. What I didn't say, and I wish I had said it, was, let's deal with gaslighting in the church. And then what I should have started with was, by the way, I'm a church guy. I've been in church all my life. I've been always involved in church, and I believe in church. I believe that's God's message and tool for us. And I have so many pastor friends that are so great and so loving and so healthy, and so many great churches that I'm involved with and love. So this isn't some kind of, painting everybody one color. Not that at all. But there are, unfortunately, because the human condition is every human community that does this at some level, it does happen. But don't want anybody to think that's the way I feel about the church. I love church. Anyway, so Stacy, looks like somebody's up and ready and up and running, right?
This is true. Caller, welcome to the Dr. Townsend Live Show. You are live. Go ahead and tell us your first name only and where you're calling from today.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm from California.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for calling and being the first person up. And what's your question for us today?
So my question is, how do you help a sibling who is depressed and suicidal, but he doesn't want anyone to know? There's shame involved, but
Sorry to hear that, but your sibling is telling you, your sibling trusts you. And so can you say if it's a brother or sister, or you rather not? We can use sibling if you don't want to.
he doesn't confide in me. It's his girlfriend that is telling my parents.
So your parents know.
Yeah, they do.
All right. So
It's not
you and your mom and your dad know, and y'all are concerned.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me stick with you because you're on the show. Have you reached out to your brother and say, I want you to get help? I'm concerned. I love you.
Yeah, I have. He doesn't really respond. If he does, he just tells me he's fine, and I know it's just a lie.
Oh, so he's told girlfriend, but he's never told Nicole.
No, but this is not the first incident that he's wanted to kill himself. So I found out and I reached out to him and I told him that I've been through that too. So I was here for him. But he doesn't talk to me about it at all.
So he'll just act like everything's fine, even with a history of suicidality. He'll say, I'm fine, and not even address it with you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nicole, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've been through this. You know how awful and dark having self-harm feelings are about. You're on the other end of it, apparently. He's been there too, and now he's there again. This has got to be so hard for you, knowing in a deep level and personal level how much pain he's in and how helpless you must feel to be able to help him. What's this like? How is this affecting you emotionally?
I feel really like powerless, kind of. Kind of angry with my brother for not getting help.
Yeah.
And well, it's just like, it's scary thinking about what if there was something we could have done, and just thinking at any moment he could possibly be doing, deciding to take his life.
Right. That's exactly what the experience is, Nicole. I mean, you identified the three biggest intense, painful emotions. Powerlessness is awful when you don't think you have a choice and you can't make a change. Anger, because you know that there's help and you know that he's walking away from it. And then anxiety, you must be scared to what could happen that we could have done. So this is hard. Let me give you kind of a stepwise path for dealing with this. Does the girlfriend confide in you? Does she trust you and all that? Do y'all have a good relationship?
No, she doesn't confide in me.
Okay. But she is worried about your brother, right? She's scared about that.
Yeah, she actually wants him to move out, but he refuses to.
There's lots of problems here. All right.
Yeah.
Here's what I would recommend. He's got to get help, and you've kind of already addressed it. This isn't about getting better love from a girlfriend or a better love from a sister or better love from mom and dad. He's got to get professional help. And so here are the steps I want to go over with you for that. One is you call him, and when you say, it's very clear, and I know you are telling me it's not an issue, but I'm convinced that you're back where you were and where I used to be. And I've got a phone number and a person or whatever. I mean, we can help you with that.
Yeah.
That I want you to call now. And so he denies it. And he says, not true. I said, great. Right. Can you write this down? I know you're saying it's not true, but can you write it down? And if he won't do that, then you text it to him. So now he's got a number, 1-800 Dr. Smith or whatever, and at least is in his hands. And then I think what else I would do is I'd probably bring this up repeatedly. And I would also tell girlfriend, I don't know how you can do this if y'all don't get along, but I would just tell her, you've got probably more input on it than I do. And I know we're not getting along, but can you do everything you can to get him to see somebody? Sometimes with people that are that much in despair, there's got to be several ways to get them help. And then the other way is if there's any indication that there's an attempt, you call the police and you call, the authorities and say, go to the guy's house. Sometimes, and this is something you might want to think about also, Nicole, sometimes the police will make a safety check. Have you ever heard of those?
Yeah.
Would he qualify?
I'm not sure.
Well, my
What if they
view has
don't-
always been, well, before I say some more, what were you going to say?
Oh, what if they don't answer the door when the police come?
Well, the police are trained to handle that. With a safety check, they've done 100,000. That's not something you have to worry about. But I'm, with those people that are in the middle that you're not sure about, they aren't saying things to other public. You don't have the sort of like very, very clear suicidality, and your brother sort of falls in that group. I think it's worth the safety check and just tell him, I'm really concerned. Here's his address. His brother. He may hate you for 10 years, but it may be what you need. So that's where I would go with it. I would appeal once. Here's the number. And if he just doesn't do it, one or two more. But, I'm talking about probably within 48 hours, call the police for a safety check. And good luck with that.
Okay.
Thanks. Tough situation, Nicole. Thanks. You might, with the stats these days, folks, somebody, all of us know somebody who's damaged themselves or killed themselves. It's just a fact now. And don't ever fall into the trap of it. And it might be for attention, or it might be a manipulation, or it might be a fake, or whatever. Always, 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 when you hear these kind of things, you err on the side of caution. You err on the side of doing something. You don't err on the side of it's probably a joke, because even people who are trying for attention or manipulating, they can make a mistake. So hope things go well, Nicole. All righty.
Okay, John, looks like your next caller is live. Caller, you are live on the Dr. Townsend Live show. Go ahead and tell us your first name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Jenny, and I'm calling from Colorado.
Hi, Jenny. Welcome to the program. And what's your question?
It's actually kind of a deep question. I see a couples therapist with my husband, and I see an individual therapist, and they're kind of telling me a little bit two different things, and I was hoping you could help me sort that out and be the tiebreaker.
Yeah, when two therapists disagree, the best thing to do is throw one more therapist in the soup bowl.
Yeah, that's what I was.
No, we'll try to bring some clarity to the situation.
Oh, I'm excited. Thank you. So I actually recently read your book, Loving People, because I'm really having difficulty with that area. And I think my husband might be one that you had described as someone with broken character. I'm not sure if I was understanding it correctly, but
well,
really
is he
quickly.
Deceitful in any way?
I think he is, but that's the thing is like our couples therapist tells me sometimes that I have what Dr. Gottman says is negative sentiment override. And so I'm just seeing things maybe more negatively. and I don't know anymore what's reality, quite honestly. But so
you feel a little bit gaslighted as well.
Yes, exactly. And that's what my individual therapist said. And so it's just been really confusing because I get both of their points. And I really do honor and respect both of them as really well-trained women. They specialize in trauma, both of them do. And so basically, if I tried to write this out so I could be concise. I just have a few sentences here. My husband lost his job 8 years ago, and shortly after he started behaving strangely. We started talk therapy around that time and did talk therapy for 5 years. It didn't do much other than bring some awareness to his family system. And the therapist referred to—
How frequently did you see that therapist for those 5 years? How often?
Weekly.
You did your work. That's a lot of work. Good.
Yeah. But he said that my husband has what appears to— he used the term orphan mindset. And then, so we kind of cranked it up a notch. And then 3 years ago, we started seeing the couple's trauma therapist. And it's like almost every session she does EMDR on either one of us, or we work through a conflict. She's taught us the speaker listener method. And he goes to all of the therapy sessions and he cooperates in session, but he does not do homework. And I have—
Is he seeing an individual therapist as well?
He sees her now. He did not. And it actually took a lot for me to even get him into therapy, quite honestly. But he has, in the last few months, so every other session has just been him alone with her. And I've asked in session for him to see somebody else. And she, he said that he just feels comfortable with her. And so she did tell him that he could come in for every other, but she couldn't see him exclusively because that would be unethical. And I agreed to it. I don't have a problem with it, quite honestly.
I mean, exclusively means that it would be unethical for her to be his individual therapist and him get another marital therapist. Is that what she says?
Oh, I think it was, I think that how I understood that it was unethical for her to see him for more individual sessions than she is seeing us as couple sessions.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
So basically, so it's every other. So like, we're seeing her every other week.
It's just like
couples.
Yeah, it's like half and half, and it's all like alternating.
Yeah, but then when he started seeing her individually every other week, so we see her as couples 2 times a month, and then he sees her individually 2 times a month. I started seeing—
But you were seeing seeing her for a while as a couple before the individual. Is that right, or was it individually before it was a couple?
We've been seeing her together as couples for about 3 years now, but 2 times a month only. So she added him on the alternate.
And how recently did she add him?
Just maybe a few months ago, like November, I think it was. October, November. And then there was some time off with the holidays and stuff.
Okay, all right. Give me an example of an instance where you felt they're saying 2 different things. A specific instance of something that you feel like he did that one said you're overreacting, the other said no, you're not. So we'll get a feel for it.
Oh, yeah, sure. No, she didn't say I was overreacting, but she's basically saying, okay, so
negative. Whoever called you negative sentiment versus the other one, your individual therapist said, well, no, that's the kind of legitimate, response you had to what he did. And the other one said, no, you were negatively sentiment. You're kind of biased to the negative anyway. So one example, so we get a feel for it.
Sure.
I'm sorry. There are nice people listening. They're saying, what in the world does this negative sentiment mean? What it means is that sometimes when you feel disconnected from somebody, your spouse or whoever, and in the relationship got a lot of tension, when in doubt, you won't give them the benefit of the doubt. It'll be like, here you go again. You're being controlling, or you're being unkind, or you're being judging. You sort of like bias toward the negative, and it's hard being objective. That's what that means. It's a bias. So I hope that helps our listening family. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt that, but people were asking.
Oh, no. Makes sense.
Jenny.
Sure.
So what's one example?
Sure. So the biggest, most recent example is really what triggered me to call you. And that was about a month ago. We were doing a business virtual conference at home, and it was a packed day. It was like 14, 15-hour day from early morning till night. And we had my 21-year-old daughter join us because she's a business major. And we were all in the living room watching this conference. And, the whole time for 14 and a half hours, he did not even acknowledge my existence.
Was he in the meeting as well?
Yeah, we were all in the living room, all three of us, my husband, myself, and my daughter. And
okay, he did not acknowledge anything, say hello, hi, give you a kiss, anything for 14 hours, right?
No, nothing. And in fact, they try to do all the rah-rah stuff where you like jump up and you like high five someone. He would always high five my daughter. And in fact, at one point she even said, "Why do you always just do it to me?" It was super awkward and really weird. And so I told that to the couples therapist and to the individual therapist. And the couples therapist said, you have to always be curious and compassionate and know that there's always a reason for every behavior. And she told me to try to be, to work on my boundaries, and that we're going to dial that in, but to just be patient, that she suspects that there's some major trauma that he has not voiced up yet. And when I shared this with my individual therapist, she was like, yeah, totally, definitely be curious and compassionate, and we're going to dial in on those boundaries. However, and then she started giving me all these stories of clients that she has that have severe trauma, but seems like she didn't tell me directly, but I came to the conclusion that what she was trying to point out to me was that they all at some point have remorse for their actions. And that she just said, I'm very for marriage. I personally have been married 33 years. I will do anything to fight for marriages, but you might want to think about this one. And
what is that? What does think about this one mean? Divorce?
I think so, or separation.
But she didn't say the words.
No, she didn't say that. She just said we might have to think about what you're going to do next or something like that. But I did tell her before that 2 years ago, that's another thing, is 2 years ago, I actually said to the couples therapy and my therapist and my husband that I was ready for a separation. Anyways, I found an email just recently that was dated 2 years ago, where he said he was going to work on the homework. He was going to work on emotional connection with me and the kids. He was going to, I forgot what else. There was just like about 5 of them, and he hasn't done any of them.
Okay. I got enough background now.
Okay, good. Thank you.
When he canceled you for 14 hours, before you went to the session, during that day, when you're upset and hurt and all that, did you say to him something? Did you address that with him?
Yes, actually, at the end
now
of the
tell
night,
me in just a few words, tell me what he said. He could have said, I did it, I'm so sorry, I was feeling bad, or whatever. He said no?
Well, because I asked, we were brushing our teeth and getting ready for bed, and I said, can I pair with you? Which is what we call the speaker listener method that she taught us. It's our tool. And he said no. He said, I'm tired, I don't want to talk about this right now. And he went to bed.
So you didn't feel permission to bring it up and say, here's how you hurt my feelings. And so then
exactly. Yeah.
And
then the next morning he love bombed me.
Right, but that's not repentance and remorse. That's just giving somebody flowers after you beat the crap out of them. That's not really healthy. When your individual therapist said, I've been married a long time and I'm pro-marriage, but this might be one. Did you directly say, Doc, what are you saying? Because I'm not sure. Are you saying separate? Or are you saying divorce? Can you be clear? Did you ask that question?
I did not. I just assumed she meant to separate. You know, she's
Yeah.
not the type. I don't. Yeah. And it was on my
All
way
right.
out too.
Okay. I think what's at the heart of this, Jenny, is that for different reasons, and I hate second guessing therapists that I don't know in situation, but I'll give you what I'm thinking, because people have tried to tell me what I did that don't know me, and that bugs me. So anyway, a lot of times when somebody's had trauma, since therapists tend to be kind of the compassionate healers, they sort of let the person who's having the trauma get away with murder. And I don't mean that literally, but that there are, they do what the psychological literature says is they fragilize the person because they've had trauma, and then they're screaming, yelling, throwing things. I can't say that stops me. That hurts my ears. I don't like it when you, because then the therapist says that's going to make them worse. Well, there are some very rare cases where it does make them worse, but in most cases, you can say, I know maybe you can't help it, but you need to stop. Or after it's over, I got to tell you how much that hurt my feelings. And so because somebody's got trauma doesn't mean they're not responsible for the impact they have on other people. And I feel like somehow everybody's dancing around that so that your husband doesn't get a clear view of, I got to work on my trauma because it's really killing Jenny and it's really horrible for her. And I don't hear that. So if I were you, I would do one of two things. One is I would be more direct about that in both sections and say, I've been thinking about that. It feels like he can treat me any way he wants to because he's been traumatized, and I've got to like take the wounds and the scars and be compassionate. And I don't get it. I don't see that in the Bible that you're supposed to put yourself up for abuse. And I don't see it in the science. Tell me how I'm supposed to protect myself, and ask him, that really hurt my feelings, and ask both sides. And I want you to challenge for yourself with both therapists, because a lot of times the therapist will say, maybe we are fragilizing him a bit. Sam, when you don't talk to her for 14 hours, she has a right to say, that hurt my feelings. And we want you to be able to have your stuff enough to deal with that, even though maybe you can't do that in the middle of your trauma, but afterwards you have to deal with that. You have to go from your amygdala, where your trauma is, to, hey, you're back to your frontal cortex, you're feeling okay. Can you talk about how that affected me? And I feel like that will help everybody. The other thing, though, and this is sort of another idea, is if you can afford it, and if the therapist are with it, you might want to ask your combination therapist, can you just see him individually? Because I think I need another couples therapist. I feel like it's somehow biased ever since it started with him, and I get it, he has needs, but I think we need to see you every week, and I think I need to see somebody every week with Sam. And it seems like he's got a good connection with you, but I think you need somebody that's neutral, that doesn't have an individual history with Sam. Now, some people go, we can't afford it. Then if you can't afford it, that's fine. I get it. But there's a thing in the psychological literature called contamination. When you're getting, half the time you're getting Sam's side, I'm the therapist now, you're getting nothing but Sam's side about what you did and what Jenny did and all this. And then the other half, Jenny's got her side, but it's really hard when a quarter of the time of therapy, Jenny has her voice, and 3/4 of the time of the therapy, Sam has his voice. That's called contamination. And all of us therapists are vulnerable to it. And I would pose that question as well. But those would be my two solutions for you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Let us know how it went, and we're pulling for you however you and Sam end up. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Take care. God bless. Thanks.
Tough situation, but you got to look at, watch out for, I am very, very empathetic towards people with trauma, because trauma can really wreck you. But sooner or later, the trauma person, once they stop being traumatized, stop getting into the amygdala and they've got their right mind, you need to have paths for it. Now, when you get like that, I know you can't control yourself, but we've got to have a path, because you can't cause damage like that either. You've got to have this conversation, unless somebody is like, needs major hospitalization. So just kind of keep that in your mind. We love people. We try not to fragilize people. By the way, speaking of the counselor part, Henry Cloud and I are affiliated with an organization called Growth Skills that has it's once a year or twice a year, I can't remember, but a 1 week intensive called 1 week, 1 week intensive for counselors, people helpers, therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, marriage and family, LPCs, pastoral counselors, people helpers, Stevens Ministry, and we do all that. You come in for an intensive weekend, and it's in beautiful Orange County, California. And Henry and I and some other specialists do the teaching on what great therapy is and what great helping is and what the science says about it. If you like, and what the Bible says, and if you like Henry and my approach, that's what the approach is, except that you're talking to us directly and we answer questions, but also you're in intensive process groups where trained facilitators who work with counselors, they counsel counselors on a group level, they'll work with you and help you with this. It's a breakthrough time if you want to be a better counselor or a better people helper. And I'll let you know, it's coming up soon. Stacy, you can probably throw the link down in the
Absolutely.
board, right?
Yep. I've already put the link down in the comments, and it is for 1 week. That is correct. And it is only once a year for that particular workshop.
And what's the dates again?
That one is going to be March the 13th through the 17th in Costa Mesa.
Come up in a month.
Yep.
But also now we've got NBCC accreditation, the National Board of Counselors. There's another C there. Committee,
That's
conglomeration.
correct.
Anyway.
And yes, and it gives 9 CE.
Yeah, you can get 9 hours, and we don't charge you extra. The Growth Skills does not charge you extra for that. Those 9 hours, if you come, are built into your registration. So it's really a great deal, and I'll see you there. Okay.
Okay, your next caller is up. Caller, you are live on the Dr. Townsend Live Show. Go ahead and tell us your first name and where you're calling us from today. Caller, can you hear us? Caller ending in. There you are. Yes, speaking to you.
Okay, I apologize. Thank you. I have okay, this is quick history.
What's your first name and where are you in the world?
Okay, Jennifer, and I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
All righty.
All right. I'm the oldest of 8 kids. Love my mother dearly for one reason, because she gave birth to me. I've tried multiple times to make connections with her, but every time I get this victim stance from her. And I'm trying to, that's why she lives like on the West Coast and I live on the East Coast. Love her dearly, and I want a connection, especially because she's in her 80s. And I know she's got a lot of health issues. Is there anything that you can help me with? Because my family is so dysfunctional. I stay away from them too. I've healed a lot of trauma from within.
Hey, Jennifer, I can help you, but let me make an observation. I'm feeling sad and concerned for all of your losses, and you're like giggling.
That's my way of handling stuff when I'm very, very, when I'm nervous.
Okay.
I do, my 7 brothers and sisters I love. There's only one I can keep in touch with.
What are you nervous about being on the show?
Just talking about this out loud.
All righty. Let me just kind of solve that, because I want you to feel as safe as you can.
Okay.
You're really not alone on this, and we're going to help you. And I think it took a lot of courage to talk about very painful stuff. It's okay.
Thank you.
All right. So if I've got the story right so far, you've got big relational problems with the siblings, and that's another story. But also, you really feel you want a better connection with your mom, who is getting older. There are times going past, but her victim attitude gets in the way of that, and you would like to make your relationship with your mom better. Is that kind of it?
Yes, and one added to it, so you understand, is that she's the one that actually split us all up in the manner of like backstabbing everybody. So when I've tried to make it all in one, it's like not everybody, all but like one person, other person, my brother will, hey, Jen, what, we're not going to be involved in that. So
you okay with that?
I wish my brothers and sisters were a little healthier.
No, I mean, I totally get the sentiment. I'm saying, do you accept that? Because I think you need to accept that, and let's just concentrate on mom. Otherwise, you're going to feel sad and frustrated the rest of your life. Let's stick with just mom.
Okay.
And if the others come along because you guys are doing better, fine. But let's stick with the one relationship. It's very hard to get 9 people who've all been dysfunctional together in a room, and I've done it a lot, and it's very hard to do. Let's stick with how you can do better with mom. Is that fair enough?
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, I like that. Thank you.
All right. Let's role play a conversation with your mother.
Okay.
All right. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to channel your mom, and I'm going to be the healthy Jen. I'm going to be the skillful Jen that's done this before, but we're going to have a conversation. She's on West Coast, you're on East Coast, so I assume there's going to be a phone. How do y'all communicate now? Phone calls, Zoom, or do you fly to see each other?
I had to stop communicating because she started it again, and I was like, Mom, there's boundaries. Stop.
Okay, but Jen, whoa. You can't say that, because if you say there's no way to communicate, I can't help you. So pick a venue. I'll fly a NetJet to see her, or say I'll talk on the phone or a Zoom, or I'll take a bus, but we got to have some way to have a conversation.
Okay. Being my mother, I just can't believe that your sister did this to me again.
Hold it. Jen, we got to get our ground rules straight. You're kind of getting ahead of yourself because I think you're motivated. All right, slow down. How are you going to talk to your mother? Like, are you going to call her and say, I'd like to have a conversation with you on the phone? Or are you going to be a Zoom with your mother? Are you going to fly on United to see your mother? Are you going to take a Greyhound to see your mother? How are you going to present this to your mom to get a conversation going?
Phone-wise.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a phone call. It's a Tuesday at 3:00 phone call, and you're West Coast and she's East Coast. Or you're West, right? No, you're East Coast. She's West Coast. All right. So, and you just said, I want to talk to you about something important, and that's all she knows. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I need to, before we get to starting the call, I need to know what Jen's desired outcome is. And you can only have one desired outcome, because some people say, well, I'd like for them to love me and hold me a lot, and I'd like for them to make me flowers, and I'd like them to go on trips to Paris. We can only have one outcome that you would feel like, okay, we're making progress. What's one thing you'd like to accomplish with your mother in a phone call?
I would like to accomplish for my mother to not, like I stated, start victimizing herself. She starts doing that. I don't know.
So that she'll become aware of it, and so she'll do it less, and that'll make the relationship better to have.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any failed attempts where you've tried to make her aware of her victimizing herself that have not worked?
Multiple times.
What happens when you say, what do you say? Mom, you're victimizing yourself? Are you just that direct about it?
What I state to her, because what she'll start doing is, oh, what your grandfather, which is her dad, did to me and my sister did to me. I say to her, Mom, can you go back in time and change this? We can't.
Okay. It's kind of like giving a reality test. And what does Mom do with that reality test when you say that?
Well, you just don't understand what I've been through.
Okay. Okay. So she uses you haven't been there, so you can't understand things. All right. And I want to make sure I get the Jen part straight. So is that what kind of keeps you disconnected? Because the constant blaming and victimizing just makes you not want to talk to her? Is that kind of what this is about?
Yes. I love her, but
I hear that. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get started. Here we go. All right, you're channeling mom's victimization stuff, and you already had a good start on it, by the way. It was good. And I'll be
Okay.
the skillful Jen. And hey, mom,
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good, huh? And mom, by the way, I know you got a lot going on. Thanks for making the time. I know that you're busy, and I just appreciate that you are willing to have a phone call with me about an important topic.
Oh, that would be great. What do you want to talk about, Jennifer?
I've been uh, I've been doing a lot of self-improvement stuff because I want to be a better person, a better friend, a better neighbor, and I want to be a better daughter. And I have an idea for making our relationship better.
I don't know if you can do that because of everything I've been through.
You don't know if we can improve our connection to each other.
We can try, whatever, Jennifer.
I'm not trying to, mom, I'm not trying to fix you. This is about improving how we talk to each other so that it's more pleasant.
Jennifer, you just don't understand what I keep dealing with daily. Your sisters and brothers and everything. And I don't need this.
You don't need a better relationship with me.
That's a good answer, Doctor.
Stay
never
in
said
character.
that.
You're doing fine. Don't get out of character. You take your notes later because you're doing well. So you don't want a better relationship with me, Mom?
I want a good relationship with you. I just don't know where it'll go.
Like it might go bad and you might get hurt.
Yeah, I keep getting hurt.
You've been hurt a lot.
Everybody keeps taking advantage.
Well, you know
of
what,
me.
Mom? I had a thought about that because I know you've had a lot of wounding. And what if our solution is one where at any point in our conversation, if you go, this is going to hurt me, you can say we need to stop. So you're always protected because you can have a boundary.
Are you willing to do that?
I'm willing to do that.
I
love you. You're my
can
mom.
try.
I miss our relationship. I love you. And I'll respect you when you say I don't want to go further. That's fine. I might
Jenny,
feel sad, but
too.
Well, then let's make our
just
lovely thing a better love thing. How's that?
The only person that ever loved me unconditionally was your stepfather.
I understand. Mom, you remember why I called?
You said you wanted to talk to me.
Right. It's about making our relationship better. So I don't want to get diverted off of other people like daughters and step husbands and all that. All I want to talk about is me and you. Fair enough?
Yes. Okay. I'll try.
Thank you. Thank you. I just really appreciate you sticking with this. This is I feel like hopefully we'll have a great relationship. So I appreciate you kind of doing this. Here's what I've been thinking is, number one, I know I'm not perfect. And I would like to let you know if I ever do anything that alienates you, irritates you, hurts you, I hope you feel free to let me know. Would you?
Are you going to hurt me if I tell you?
I will not hurt you.
I can try.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I want to be a growing person and you're my mom. And if you can give me some feedback sometimes on something I'm doing and I'm not doing it right, I would consider it a gift. So thank you for doing that. And I hope you do. I have something what, Mom?
I keep reaching out to you. I keep reaching out and sending you these love things and you're ignoring them. That hurts me.
I know. And I appreciate you saying that, but that's not for this call. This is my turn. So next time I talk to you, and we can talk in a week, then I want you to tell me the things I'm doing that bother you, but not for this call. Fair enough?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I've got something that would really help me to feel closer to you. All of us have been hurt. You've been hurt a lot. It's just the real thing. But there are times when I would like to hear, instead of the bad people in your life, and I'm not saying they're not, I would like for you to begin kind of asking me how I'm doing and entering my world a bit so that it's, how's my life and how's my job and how's my health, and kind of asking Jen how Jen is doing, because sometimes, I don't think you're aware of this. I think you do it on purpose. Sometimes our conversations end up with all the bad people that have hurt you. And I feel a little bit lonely, like I miss my mom. I just want my mom to ask me how I'm feeling today. And that would make a huge difference. That's my ask.
I can try that. I can try.
Awesome. All right, let's practice. Ask me how I'm doing. Now, let's have some fun with this, Mom. Ask me how I'm doing.
Okay. How are you doing, Jen?
Oh gosh, my cat got outside and ran up the tree, and we had to get the fireman. And also, I'm having some itchy things on my back, and my boss is kind of a jerk. But
do you want to tell me
tough.
about that?
Mom, you're a rock star. You did this. That's all I needed. I'm so
Thank
happy.
you, Jen. Thank you.
Wow.
I want you to
feel
call me more often.
Well, I want to call more now, because I'll hear more than what happened to you. I'll hear you entering Jen's world, and I feel like I've got my mom back. This is awesome. So thank you. And we will talk.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jen.
All right. Now, before we go, I'm back to Jennifer. Mom's. Okay, now we're in our fourth wall. If you'll ever watch The Office, we're in our fourth wall now. We're talking to each other. What's one thing you picked up that you can use on this? There's one little skill that Jen can kind of go, I bet you I can try this.
Consistently redirecting.
Well done.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing from you. That really opened my eyes.
Good, because a mom can, God bless moms. I love my mom. And my mom's passed now, but sometimes a victim-y parent can trigger us, and we kind of want to fix it, and it frustrates us, and we escalate, and we just want to say, no. Remember that thing? Ask me how that rash on my back is doing. And a lot of times they're happy to, because they don't know any better. So Jen, I'm really glad you did this. I cannot tell you how many people you just helped with the same kind of dynamic. So thank you for calling today.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Wow. Bye-bye. So what's the lesson? She was right. When there are some people that you got to not let trigger you. I mean, go talk about how they trigger you before the call and after the call with your safe friends. We call that the bologna sandwich, right? Because you got the bread on the outside and the bologna's in the middle. But don't let them trick you. Just get above it. I mean, don't let them trigger you. Just get above it, and then redirect to, here's what I need from you. I was working out at our growth skills or ultimate leadership workshop this morning, and we had some role plays because they were very instructive. And somebody was talking about a relationship with somebody. I'll get it in a second, but where they kept bringing it to other things, and I showed the person how to keep saying, yeah, but here's what I need from you. I think it was, I know what it was. It was, I need 15 minutes of time for you where you're not talking to your kids. And they would say, well, yeah, but I need an email. I need 15 minutes. This is important. I need 15 minutes of uninterrupted time where you're not talking to your kids, where you're not doing email, and you're not answering the phone. Yeah, but my life is, I understand, but I need 50. Some people are so scattered or defensive that they don't do that. And so I loved how Jen kind of ended up there. You might have to do it with your people. By the way, speaking of all these growth issues here, if you want to grow in your career for an opportunity to get the job you always dreamed of, it's your time. You've been taking care of the world. You've been taking care of kids. You've been taking care of everybody, but not taking care of yourself. I want you to consider the Townsend Institute for Leadership and Counseling. We're totally online and totally accredited. We've got all the blue chip bells and whistles, all the accreditations. You can get a credential, master's, or PhD in counseling. Credential, master's, or PhD, or a bachelor's. You can get a credential or a master's in executive coaching and consulting. If you want to develop people and go into corporations, you can get a credential or master's in organizational leadership. Run your own business, own your own business, be in the corporate world, be in a family business, be in the ministry, run a church. And we're reasonably priced, and we've got hundreds of students out there getting great jobs, and you can get that opportunity. We have these information sessions where we had one this week where, I don't know, a ton of students from potential students from around the world, from 23 to 73, said, well, what's this about? I talk about it. We do it online. It's all live. Our professors answer questions. But if you've been itching to say, well, I was going to say, take this job and shove it, but some jobs are not about shoving. Some jobs are really good. But if you're kind of going, the ceiling is here, I don't want to go, I'm not getting where I need to go. The opportunity you have career-wise, meaning-wise, purpose-wise, check us out. At Townsend Institute. Stacy's throwing down the link for the next information session. We'll see you there.
That's right. And the next one is March 13th.
Yes, it is.
Okay, you have 4 minutes left. So unfortunately.
So give me a very complicated
Yes.
problem with lots and lots of aspects to it, Stacy.
I promise I won't do that. This one is coming from Chris. This question comes from Chris out of Kentucky, and he messaged on Instagram. And
Hi, Chris.
He says, Dr. Townsend, my wife and I are at a crossroads with our 22-year-old daughter. She has been in a holding pattern on college because she received a few scholarships to different colleges that were not to her liking. Unfortunately, this is not working for the budget for the colleges where she wants to go to. And she has now moved out of the house, says she's not going to go to college, and hasn't spoken to us in 4 months because we will not come up with the extra money to send her to the college that she wants to go to. How can we repair this damage that is so hurtful with our daughter?
Oh, Chris, I'm sorry to hear that. Especially since she did get scholarships, which is a total blessing. And for some reason, there's this ideal in her head of what she should be getting, not just getting, but getting paid for. And the ideal is over here. Reality's here, but it's not like a bad reality, is it? It's a really good reality. I'm so sorry that she can't move from the ideal down to a good reality, which is where most of us live. Most of us live in, gosh, I'd love to have a good reality. Then most of us don't get the ideal. So I've got, you know how I like to, if you watch the program at all, I kind of like give a path. Here's the path from first steps to last. And I know you may have done some of these, but I don't. Since we're not talking, I'll make the assumption that you haven't. I would ask her for more conversations, and she's canceled you for 4 months, and say, we miss you, we'd like to solve this. And I do not think that you can do it by yourself. If she's done that for 4 months, I would say we've got to bring it professionally. Get a good family counselor, a good mediator, a good coach who works in situations like that. But we'd like to bring it professionally so that your needs are understood as well as our perspective, because we really want to make a we out of this. Would you come back? And hopefully she would. And if she doesn't do that, then you say, what will it take? And you don't hear from her, and she keeps just nothing. Then I would just send another thing and say, we're going to respect your wishes not to be around us. We love you, miss you. And I'm sure you're doing some of this. But just say, we're going to keep the door open. So let us know. We're going to live our lives. And it's sad, but we're going to live our life. Don't ever make her think that you can't live your life without her, because then that builds up a lot of entitlement. And then you know what I would do, Chris? I certainly pray for her. You love your kid. I would let God's program of natural consequences take over. I don't know where she's getting the money. Maybe she's got a job. Maybe she's couch surfing with a bunch of people. Who knows? But there are benefits to living with a mom and dad who love you, and the warmth and all this stuff. And I would just let time pass by, because it's going to suck sooner or later, unless she's with some really, really cool, great people, and there's lots of opportunity, lots of money, but she's still going to miss mom and dad. She's 22. I would let it play out. I think time is on your side. Live your life, go on vacations, go to church, have fun, work out, see your friends, see movies, and let this kind of 4-month tantrum, which I suspect is driven by a desire to punish you and show you how selfish you are, and don't let it do that. And let time do what it does in terms of money problems, stability problems, people not wanting to put up with their problems, lack of parental love, support. Time's on your side. All right, Chris, thanks for the call. Well, Stacy, that was a show where people brought up real things and real situations. You know, I talked about ideal life and real life. I love our community here because it's real life. I love that people bring out stuff that really matters to them, and that people really want their lives to be better. And it takes courage to take these steps, but they're the right steps. So we just appreciate the people that come on, don't we?
That is right. Absolutely. Great show.
All right. I guess we're done.
We're done.
So thanks again. We'll see you next week, and